Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We're in a slightly different environment today. Not my bedroom. This is like the outhouse where all of the stuff that Lisa buys secondhand, but she buys and she's like, oh, I could do this up, I could sell this on, make a profit. She buys it, she stashes it away. Does she ever sell it? Of course she doesn't. So yeah, this is where interior decor comes to die. But it's all good. It's quite a chilly environment for me to film in, but I thought I would mix up a little bit and bring you my current beauty favourites in this location. So yeah, this is just going to be beauty. I think I'm going to do a non-beauty favourites because there's some non-beauty stuff that I've also been loving that I'd like to share. And I think maybe right after this video I'll film a skincare favourites, but I'll keep the two separate. So this is just going to be makeup. Also going to throw in some flops as well, so favourites and flops, stuff I liked and stuff I haven't been liking over the past few months. So yeah, let's get cracking with stuff I liked, I think, first. Oh, where to begin? I have been trying so many cool products that I have splurged on. Not gonna lie, it's been a splurgy few months. You've got to get through January and February somehow, and for me it's been through experimenting with makeup. So let's start with probably the least me, maybe not least me, but the most adventurous product that I've been loving are the Milk eye pigments. Milk is a US based brand and they came to the UK recently. They had a pop-up store in London which I couldn't go to because I was in Iceland, but my friend Soph went to, and she sent me loads of pictures of her swatching everything, which was a real treat. It felt like I was watching my own personal vlog. But yes, they're on Cult Beauty, so you can order them online. I did ask for recommendations on Instagram of what to go for and everyone was really helpful, but it meant that my basket total was something like £300 and that's not gonna happen. Didn't want to end up wasting my money and just buying stuff for the sake of buying stuff. So all of that said, I tried one of Soph's eye pigments and I knew they were good, so I picked up a few of them and I love these. These come in about 7 or 8 shades. They've got some more kind of like purpley shades, a lighter lavender purple and a more in-your-face purple, nice copper shades. I wish they had a really bright orange and a bright yellow and a bright pink. Those three I think they should come out with. But these two are the bright shades. I've got Mermaid Parade and Sesh. So Mermaid Parade is a really bright green, and I tried this a couple of weeks ago at Soph's house and I put it all over the lid. A warm shade in the crease. They don't irritate my eyes at all. I do have quite sensitive eyes, but these don't feel heavy at all. They last all day. Like, they last, once they're set, they're set. You do need an oil to get rid of them, so like a cleansing oil, or you could use olive oil even. The only thing I don't like about these is I don't think this packaging is necessary. That's something, again, when I was going to make a Milk makeup order, a lot of their stuff is heavily packaged in plastic. In terms of everything comes in kind of sticks and tubes and they're just these big bulky plastic. I mean, I know a lot of makeup comes in plastic, don't get me wrong, or it has elements of plastic to it, but I just think this is kind of unnecessary. Sesh, it looks really nice with a winged liner brush to do a winged liner. It also looks good all over the lid or under the lash line. Very pretty. And then the more kind of neutral shade I picked up is called Hotel Lobby, and this is just it's a champagne, but it's quite a cool tone champagne. So yeah, very pretty all over the eyelid. I don't really find these crease on me, but I don't take them all the way. I only take them up to the crease, I don't take them into the crease. So far so good, I love them a lot. And they are expensive, but you only need a tiny amount to get a really impactful pigment. A base product I've been loving, this is by NUI. This is a natural brand, so they use more sort of eco ingredients, like, you know, natural ingredients, non-toxic. I never know how to describe these kind of brands, because sometimes if you say non-toxic, people are like, that doesn't mean anything, like makeup can't be toxic, and some brands say that they're a non-toxic brand, so I don't really know what the correct term is, but more of a green beauty brand, I'll say. And this is their natural liquid foundation in the shade number 2, Matal. This foundation I've been reaching for when I want something. I love the Beauty Blender Bounce foundation, and that's pretty much my most regularly used foundation. But when I want something more natural, on days where I just kind of want to let my skin breathe a bit, I've been reaching for this. And I love the Oat Milk foundation by Era Perez. You know, I've harped on about that a lot, but this has really been, I've been reaching for this over that of late. The reason why is because this sets to a demi matte finish, whereas the Era Perez one, it's always pretty dewy, which is nice, and you can, I love that foundation, don't get me wrong, they're both equally great. This is more watery, whereas that is more of a thicker consistency. This gives maybe slightly less coverage, but it's still really nice coverage. I think the shade match is not great for me. I think I needed the lightest shade, but it wasn't in stock. I got mine from Glow Organic, but honestly the finish of this is so natural. If you're the kind of person that doesn't really need foundation, but you want something more than a tinted moisturiser, which doesn't really do anything, if you want something more than that but less than like a full coverage or like medium coverage foundation, I recommend this. It wears well throughout the day, doesn't break up, doesn't crumble, and I've been enjoying it a lot. An eyeshadow, I've been wearing this non-stop. This is a Scattered Light glitter eyeshadow in foil. So I think this range has about 6 different shades, and this was actually one of the only ones left in stock in my local Space NK, and these are quite expensive. I think they're about £20, but Hourglass is a premium brand, and oh, the quality of their stuff is just, it's amazing. And what I love about Hourglass is they're not constantly releasing products. That sounds weird. I know that sounds weird, but I love that they do what they do well, and they just kind of stick to that. And they do release new products, like this is a newer range that they've released, but I feel like they take more time in their like research and development stage, because if you're constantly churning out new ideas, new makeup ranges, and people get overwhelmed and they start to not listen. I feel like Hourglass is more of a capsule brand, so they don't release new things every single season, but what they've got is really, really good quality and will last you, and in my experience you'll really, really treasure and love. So yeah, expensive for not very much product, 3 grams, 3.5 grams, but the product is incredible. You only need a tiny, tiny, tiny amount. I've got it on my eyes today. I've been wearing it non-stop. It's such a beautiful shade. It's like a coppery gold. I'd say quite a warm gold, because it does have copper elements to it, but it's not very, very red. It's like if a copper and a gold had a baby. Like a golden, glittery, beautiful baby. This would be it. I'd love to try some other colours from the range. It looks good topping off another eyeshadow as well. You can also sheer it out. You can build it up. It never looks crumbly. It doesn't look flaky. Sometimes it creases a little bit if I take it too far up, but pretty much every single eyeshadow I've tried ever creases on me, because I got creasy eyelids, and no matter what I use, it gon' crease. The other Hourglass product I wanted to mention is their Veil Translucent Setting Powder. It's I think it's the only powder they do, or the only loose powder they do at least. I know they've got their ambient lighting powders, but I think this is their only loose powder. And I've been using it in combination with the Real Techniques sponge. So I've been loving, so 2 things. Firstly, I love this powder. It's really, really fine, sets the face really nicely, doesn't look cakey, lasts all day, beautiful. But I love the technique of using a sponge as well, like pressing the powder into your skin just sets it so much more nicely than if you use a brush. And I'm not saying bake, I'm not saying pack on the powder underneath your eyes, but just applying it with a sponge is, if you've got dry skin, I would recommend trying it. Or if you've got fine lines underneath your eyes and you find that when you sweep powder with a brush it looks kind of dry or just not very natural, try using a sponge. And the only reason why I really like this one is because of the flat edge. I feel like it's quite good underneath the eye, you can get into the inner corner. But yeah, that's a combo I've been loving of late. The last base product I wanted to give a shout out to is this blush. So this is by B, and it's their powder blusher in the shade Tempt Me. I love the finish of this, I love the consistency. It's really, really smooth. It's got a lovely satin sort of natural finish. I mean, for a long time I was of the opinion of a blush is a blush is a blush. At the end of the day, they're all pretty much the same once you've got them on the cheeks. Even if it's a really bright colour or a really dark colour, you're never going to apply it. Like, you're going to apply a tiny little bit, and then it's either going to look reddy, pinky or peachy. Like, you can't really do much with those 3 areas. But that said, I've really been enjoying this, and yeah, I feel like it lasts on my skin throughout the day. And I think blush is one of those things that for a long time I didn't try, and I thought, oh, I've got redness on my skin, I can't apply blush. But I think a nice cool tone blush like this does actually, especially in spring, looks really, really nice and makes you look quite fresh faced. Also from B, I don't know if I've mentioned this in a favourites video before, but I'm like 90% sure I haven't, but if I have, apologies for the repeat. But this is the Defining Duo liner. So this is a 2-ended felt tip liner, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that my favourite felt tip liner, and I am a winged liner addict, I wear winged liner pretty much every day of my life, but my favourite is the Kat Von D Trooper liner. Or my favourite was the Kat Von D Trooper liner, because this is pretty much overtaken it. Now, I've only had this I've had it for about half a year. I've been using it consistently half a year, maybe a bit less than that, but I love this. It is so, so good. It's a lot cheaper than the Kat Von D liner, and once you get used to not using a brush tip and using a felt tip instead, it's actually really, really easy to use. It lasts all day. I have the leakiest eyes in existence. They leak when it's sunny, they leak when it's not sunny, when it's cold, when it's windy, when there's not a bluster of wind in sight. In sight? You can't see wind, but you know what I mean. They leak all the time. I have very sensitive eyes, very sensitive skin. You know the drill by now, I say it all the time, but I'm just trying to reiterate that this does not irritate my eyes, and despite my eyes watering profusely, it doesn't smudge. It's great. It's a really, really black formula. Obviously you get 2 ends as well, so depending on your preference or depending what part of the eye you would like to draw a line on, you've got a thicker nib, and a thicker nib but not ridiculously thick. I feel like some chubby sticks that you see, they're literally like Sharpies or like highlighter sticks. How are you going to draw a line with that? It's just going to be, unless you're going for a really strong block line, which I don't think many people are, unless you're doing catwalk kind of editorial fashion look. Yes, on the other end you've got a thinner brush, thinner and longer and a bit more bendy, but yeah, I highly recommend this product. It's also a lot cheaper than the Kat Von D one. It's actually quite a lot of Milk makeup in this video. The Milk Makeup Kush Brow Gel is my favourite brow gel I've tried to date. I love it. It's kind of similar to the Glossier Boy Brow. It's a little bit less fibery, I would say, which surprises me in that I like it more than the Boy Brow, but just because I feel like it gives a bit more. I've got mine in the shade Dutch and I just feel like it does bits. As my brothers would say, like, oh, that does bits. That's a positive thing. If you say something does bits, it means it's really, it's doing its thing. It's doing what it says on the tin. And I feel like it holds my brow hairs in place really well throughout the day. It doesn't make them feel crunchy. It tints them a nice amount. This shade is a little bit lighter than my natural brow colour. Like you can see, I've got quite dark hair, quite fair skin, and it means that my brow hairs are really dark, but I don't like a brow gel that's also really, really dark, because I think it looks a bit, it's a bit too strong, it's a bit intense for my preference, so I usually go for a slightly lighter shade, but they do a deeper shade to Dutch. I think they do a blonder shade, a clear option, this one, and then a darker one as well. In terms of the formula, I love this. I love it so much, and I will have a video comparing all of my different brow gels, because it has been a long road. It's been a long and expensive road trying to find the perfect brow gel, but I think I may have found it. And then lastly, lip products. So this is a tinted lip balm. This is by The Body Shop, and I didn't love this when I first got it. It was an impulse buy. It was an impulse buy, not gonna lie. I was in Covent Garden and Charlotte Tilbury had already closed, and that was why I'd gone to Covent Garden. So it was a Sunday, and I forgot that it was a Sunday. So I went into Body Shop because they were still open, and I saw this, I smelt it, and I bought it because it smells like the apple skittle, and I love like the sour apple skittle. I love sour skittles. Actually, it's not an apple flavour though, it's strawberry pomegranate aloe vera lip juicer. But this, I love the colour, and I think that it applies really, really evenly. It lasts well on the lips, and I think I was just really impressed with this. It's really quick as well, because it's this little, it reminds me of an EOS balm. I like that The Body Shop has started labelling what's vegan in their stores now. So those are all my favourites. I'm going to move on to flops, and this isn't technically a flop, but this was a bit of a disappointment. Ironic, because it's what I've got on my nails at the moment, and I have had compliments on it before. This is the Zoya Professional Lacquer in the shade Dakota. The formula of this is not as good as the past Zoya polishes I've tried, and I've only tried one or two, but it's just not as good. It's not as chip resistant. I don't know if this is a dud one, or if it's just this shade, or quite what, but it just doesn't, yeah, it chips more than the other shades. It doesn't last as long as the other shades, and although I love the colour, I prefer the formula of the 100% pure. They've got a very, very similar colour. I think it's called Wine. Yeah, this was a bit of a disappointment, considering how much these are. They're not cheap polishes. I would rather wear like a Barry M shade, which is a lot cheaper, than this one, because it's just not, it's not the best. I'll continue to wear it, don't get me wrong, but it's just not the best. I wouldn't recommend. Next up, these are a huge disappointment. So these are the Ben and Anna deodorants, and they are deodorants packaged in cardboard. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, or watched my deodorant video, which I posted ages ago, I tend to opt for natural deodorants. My favourite one is the Schmidt's natural deodorant in Lime and Bergamot, or Bergamot and Lime. It's amazing. I love it so much. It works incredibly well. One of my friends uses it as well, and I don't know if she only uses natural deodorant, but she says she loves it. It genuinely works, whereas some of them, they don't work too well, and these don't work too well. And I actually got them because the Schmidt's one comes in plastic. Even the jar, I bought the jar and it comes with a plastic lid and like a plastic little spoon as well. So I thought, oh, I might as well, I thought I'd be cutting down on plastic, but I might as well just buy the stick form. Anyway, doesn't matter. These don't really work that well. They don't smell all that strongly. I picked up the Persian Lime, because I thought it'd be like Bergamot and Lime, and also the Vanilla Orchid. They just don't smell very strongly. They don't keep you fresh. They don't work, and I'm gutted, because what a cool idea. The formula doesn't work, and if the formula doesn't work, it's a wasted purchase, so I wouldn't really recommend these. A skincare product which was a bit of a flop. This is the Pi Lotus and Orange Blossom Bioaffinity Skin Tonic. Basically it's a face mist. I don't really love this. I find that it's a little bit strong for a brand that is going to be catering to sensitive skin, and maybe it's just my skin and Orange Blossom, but I just find Orange Blossom is not for me. It's not for me, and I thought this was very expensive for how much you get. Well, not even very expensive for how much you get, because you get 50ml, which is, it's the same as like the Bybee Mega Mist, but I feel like I've gone through this so quickly. I don't reach for this very often. I gave it a good go initially and then I realised, yeah, it's not for me. But I don't reach for this very often and I'm pretty much halfway through it. So I feel like this is a bit of a waste of money. Not my favourite product from Pi. I do have a whole video on Pi skincare, so I'll link that if you're interested, because they do have some really lovely stuff from in their range, but this is not for me, not one of them. And the last flop of, I actually got this at the end of last year, but this is a pressed powder by a brand called Kaiser Weiss. And the idea behind Kaiser Weiss, if you haven't heard of them before, I mean, they are expensive. Let me tell you. Look, this comes in its own little, it looks like you've just bought a watch or like a tennis bracelet or something, but no, it's a pressed powder. The idea behind this brand is refillable makeup, which is a great premise for a brand. It's so cool. You can buy refills for their products and just keep the packaging and just switch out the refill, and a lot of their stuff is plastic free, which is amazing. And this is their translucent pressed powder, and this is fine actually. This is an okay pressed powder. It's a very expensive pressed powder, don't get me wrong, but what's actually the first ingredient? Is it rice? Yeah, it's got rice powder in. First ingredient is mica, but oh my gosh, this stinks. This smells so bad. It's got a 6-month, so let me think, where are we? No, it's definitely in date. It's still in date because I got it at the end of last year and we're only in March. But this smells very off, and I don't know if it's supposed to smell like this. If anyone's used this, let me know. It performs okay. It's not like, I prefer my Avril powder, not gonna lie. Between the smell and like the okay finish of this, it's not a super airbrushing. It doesn't look really natural. You can kind of tell you've got powder on your skin when you wear this. It's okay, but it's nothing like to write home about, and for the price and the smell, I just don't recommend this. This was a massive disappointment because I was really hoping I was gonna like it because the packaging's gorgeous. It's like all mirrored, and yeah, it was a disappointment. But yes, that is my handful of disappointments and my bigger handful of favourites. It's nice when you like more than you dislike, isn't it? So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a cracky. Hope you're smoking lots of crack. No, I hope you're not. I hope you are treating your body well. I hope you're having a lovely 2019, and if you want to see some more from me, like, comment, subscribe, follow my socials and all that jazz. Gosh, I'm so cold. My fingers are like turned to stone. I'm gonna love you and leave you, and hopefully I shall catch you in my next video. Bye guys.